Welcome back to another Old Dan Adventures. We're here exploring Frontier, Texas today, and behind me we have the statue of a big bison from back in the day. And inside they have amazing museum in here. They got holographic images that will tell you about their past and take you through the history. They also have a theater. They have plenty of artifacts and statues and things to look at along the way, and we're going to go inside and explore that.
Welcome to Frontier, Texas. In just a few decades, this area of Texas was transformed from an open prairie, the stomping grounds of Indians, cowboys and buffalo hunters, outlaws and cavalry.
Alright guys, here at Frontier, Texas. We're starting out in the first humans and the civilizations that were first came to this place. Here we have some nice artifacts. So many different sizes and shapes. Amazing. First occupants, Comanche Indians. Here we have a buffalo being attacked by two wolves. We've got a family of buffalo along this wall. Headdress Indians. And here we are going to make our first contact with our first air guy.
Ah, hi. Hello. Since long, long ago, Indians have come to the banks of Concho River, which we call the Blue River, to camp, because it gives us water, wood, long rock cliff to protect us from the wind. While they were camped here, the Indians used their paints to tell their stories on the cliffs of paint rock. In this place are stories, some from tribes and languages long forgotten, pictures of the old ways, hunting the buffalo in the time before the horse, stalking him on foot, bow and arrow, talking to the sun, our father, asking for the buha, the medicine power that makes us strong. The paintings here, other places across the plains, were drawn to remind us of our stories. We made no written words. Our stories are passed from generation to generation by word of mouth. From old to young, we tell these stories in the long nights of winter in places like this. Places that breathe with the history of our people. In my time, even as our people are put on reservations, I retreat to the canyons of the high plains. The paintings on the rock, the stories they tell, are still being made. We paint newer pictures among the ancient ones, showing how our paths cross with the paths of the whites. Back in my grandfather's time, Comanches rode with the Wichitas to burn the spirit out of the Taibos and San Sabah River, which we call Sinakuni, Old House River. The ruins still stand. The Taibos have a bigger spirit house south of here, at a place they call San Antonio. Those Taibos, they believe in a bad spirit. Looks like a white man with horns and a tail, who tells them to do bad things. Sometimes I think the Taibos listen too much to their bad spirit. Yes, we have fought to keep our land and way of life. But I see that our old ways of raiding and taking captives must change. Now I try to stop these things among my people. I cannot decide this by myself. We must have a council with a great many speeches, and everyone agreed. Everyone. Now I argue for peace with the whites. But I do not wish us to become like them ourselves.
Here's some of the trades and items that they used back in the day. Here we have Comanche at war. Comanche life, one of their teepees. Imagine living this life back in the day in one of these. Kind of looks cozy. Around here, now we go off into the buffalo hide and trade. This is one of the rifles that they would use. Here is another
Heights. Though I was born in the world of the whites, I am Comanche. My life with the Numina is everything. And the mainstay of our lives will always be the buffalo. We know this. We eat its meat, fresh and also dried. The skins we use for robes and saddles and shelter. We make shields stronger than the white man's bullets. We sew as many as 15 buffalo skins together to make our teepees. The fur is woven into ropes and made into pillows. Even the buffalo's teeth become a rattle for my baby, Quana.
Well, now them bunches of shaggies are smaller and smaller and further apart. I can hunt for days without seeing any buffalo. And I can't afford to keep paying them skinners if there's nothing to skin. The buffalo's what brought me and old Pete Snyder to this fine piece of Texas. Pete done well as a merchant, even has a town named after him. I figured building a cattle ranch would make a good life's work for me. Without the buffalo, this grass could provide for a lot of cattle. So I think I'm going to give that a go. I reckon it's a good thing I hung on to that money I made.
Here we have a wheel they have in the wall Each panel has a piece of history on it. Tells about their past, what they did. They even tell us how much their skins and their other things were monthly. They also had buffalo bone trade. As well as military fort or military frontier. Wow, look at these fabulous weapons. Two soldiers, campfire. If you haven't been here, guys, I would strongly suggest come and check this place out. It is amazing to see all this history and all their things that they used to have. Their locks and keys were so different back then.
I was assigned to Texas in 1846 during the war with Mexico, and I fought in the battles of Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma. Then the Army sent me to this area to search for natural roads, water, and timber. On these journeys across the Texas plains, we discovered the source of the Red River and mapped the first trail for settlers moving further west. I guess I did all right, because that route is now called Marcy's Trail, and it is the route followed by many going to the California Gold Rush in '49, as well as the Butterfield Stage and the Goodnight Loving Trail.
I am very high in my expectations and short on praise. A soldier renders meritorious service because that is what the government pays him to do. It is no more than I expect of myself. If a commendation is in order, it is included in the official reports. My attention is directed towards defeating the enemy rather than embellishing the results, and definitely not for the approval of my soldiers.
And then this is the trails the cowboys used to take, driving the herds through the land. And all the trails on Texas that they went through. Longhorns being herded out. Now we step into the next part of history.
I'll tell you what, there was nothing worse than a night stampede. We all went through it at one time or another. When a big electrical storm would roll in on your herd at night, you could see the electricity glowing green on the cattle's horns and the horse's ears. And when the cattle get nervous, anything can set them running. Charging blind across the prairie, so all you can do is try to ride faster and hope your horse doesn't trip in a prairie dog hole. You're riding hell for leather, and all you can see is the sparks from your horse's hooves striking the rocks. And if you're lucky, you get in front and you turn the leaders back into the herd so that they all begin to slow down and mill. A whole night of that, and you're so tired you can hardly sit a saddle. But come first light, you start them heading back to the trail, just hoping all of your friends are still alive. You haven't lost a lot of cattle.
The Civil War was hard on settlers on the frontier. The men died on the battlefields, and the women and children suffered the increasing threat of Indian raids. I quickly learned what every good scout and plainsman needs to know to survive that harsh, unforgiving land. As a result, I was called upon to serve as an Indian scout for the Rangers across much of this area. In December of 1860, during the skirmish at Peace River, I discovered a blue-eyed squaw that I later understood to be Cynthia Ann Parker.
Amazing video we got going on here. There's one of their wagons that they used to use.
do, folks? Snuck up kind of quiet on me, didn't you? I guess you the ones been asking around Fort Belknap about me, wanted to hear the legend of Britt Johnson and how I got my family back from the Comanches, right? Well, I'll leave the telling of that story to some of the other folks around here. I got all I can handle running my business. I suppose I can tell you about how I saw an opportunity and took it. See, when I got my family back, I had to find a way to support them. The Civil War was over and lots of people were coming to the frontier to settle close to the forts, and everybody needed goods home. The way I saw it, freight would be the lifeblood of the frontier. So I started my own freight business between Weatherford and Fort Richardson, Belknap, and Griffin. It was pretty tough in the first years. Plenty of folks was ready to make it hard for a black man. But right now, business is good. I got enough work that I need to get more wagons, and I got some pretty good men out there driving for me. Even if it's just a big old freighting wagon behind a team of mules. I'm helping to change the frontier to the kind of place where folks can make a go of it in the world. Well, we haul plenty of stuff you'd expect. Lumber, flour, just about anything folks need that they can't grow or make themselves. And corn's one of the main loads. For horse feed. No, corn-fed cavalry horses are faster than grass-fed Indian ponies. Hey, Red, I'm coming. That's my dog. I call him that because I got him up on the Red River. Yeah, a man has to make a stand for the things he believes in. Me? I believe in the future of this part of Texas. I'm proud to be working a building. I am in mind if I get back to work again. They're expecting me over at Jacksboro just 3 days from now. I'll take care.
Butterfield Overland Stagecoach Trail that ran through Abilene and through Fort Phantom. Which, if you guys will have seen my last video, is part of, actually connection to. Now we can actually see where they actually went through. This stagecoach here was actually built and been in a couple different movies. Now, there's also a theater here that they have. It's pretty impressive. It's a 360 theater. And I'm going to let you guys come here to explore it if you want to see it.
Lottie, it's a wolf. Take my hand. Stand still. Maybe there's only one.
Grandma, I'm scared.
Lottie, can you see the window in the cabin? When I say, you run to the cabin. Run like the wind and don't look back till you're inside. Can you do that?
I think so.
Alright guys, that's going to complete our adventure today. Thank you for watching. And if you liked it, of course, like, subscribe, help out the channel. And we'll see you next time.